After talking about the major shift in focus that has to happen with both the Vikings front office and the head coach, talked about that in yesterday's video, we can now look at other priorities that need to be addressed in this upcoming offseason. The big ticket item here is at quarterback. Kirk Cousins, who had he stayed healthy, I think he would have flipped at least 3 more games in the Vikings' favor. You would have beat Denver. You would have for sure beat Chicago. And I think you would have also beaten the Cincinnati Bengals. Looking back, I think Kirk Cousins has covered up a lot, if not damn near all of KOC's flaws. I think that, and just to harp on what I've been saying the last couple of days, I think KOC really doesn't have any idea what he's doing offensively with this team. I think he's just going out there and winging it. I think he's more interested in being friends with his players instead of the leader that these players need. But I digress. Decision time for the Vikings. Do you bring Kirk Cousins back? Do you let him walk in free agency? I have always said that as long as you still draft a quarterback, you got to keep drafting quarterbacks until you get it right. As long as you draft a quarterback, I am more than open for a Kirk Cousins return at the right price. Specifically, I think the magic number is $20 million. Fully guaranteed. Just give him that. And I understand that the consensus is the major pushback. He's not going to sign for $20 million. He's just not going to do that. He's going to want $35, maybe $40 million per year. To which case I say, fine, let his ass walk. He wants all that money. This is going to be a 36-year-old quarterback going into his 13th season, coming off an Achilles tear. I'd love for him to come back if the money's good, but if this man wants $40 million, let's say it's a 2-year deal, 40 each. Nah, fam, you can go somewhere. Thanks for everything that you've contributed to this organization. We don't need Kirk Cousins. For what? Because we can't win a championship with him. I don't want to go down that road too far. But at this point in his career, he is who he is. In fact, 4th and 8, the final play of the 2022 season, was the perfect combination of KOC calling a terrible call and Kirk Cousins in tight moments having a brain fart, absolutely soiling himself. We don't need that anymore. But if he's willing to come back for $20 million, cool. Because you got to remember, before he returns, assuming that he does return, you're already incurring a $10.25 million cap hit of prorated money from his last contract. So now add on that new money that he's going to want and get in 2024, which, by the way, if you do bring him back, no more kicking money down the road. Front load that ish. And if you are going to do that, which you absolutely should, that new money added to 10.25, like, oh, he wants $40 million. That's over a $50 million cap hit in 2024. No thanks. Sorry, we're good. Only to what? End up middle of the road again in the draft? Get into the playoffs, be one and done, or win a playoff game at best. But at least we made it to the postseason. I'm done with that, man. If we're trying to win a championship, we're going to have to do some things uncomfortably. In fact, when you also consider Danielle Hunter and Marcus Davenport, who, if they don't return, that's going to be a $21.7 million dead cap hit in 24. Danielle Hunter takes precedent. Danielle Hunter has priority, if I'm the Vikings front office, in a return over Kirk Cousins. Especially after you didn't trade him before this year's trade deadline, which I would have done. I think you could have gotten a first-round pick for that. But Danielle Hunter takes priority over Kirk Cousins. And you want to now add on top of that another $40 million for Kirk? We can't lose Kirk. What have we done with Kirk? I'm not trying to bash this guy, but I'm just saying, all this money, if he really does want to get top dollar, a 36-year-old quarterback coming off a major injury who has one playoff win in his career with, I believe, an incompetent play caller in Kevin O'Connell, no thanks. We're good. Going to the draft, though, Tankathon has the Vikings currently slotted at pick 12. The Vikings going into week 18, going up against the Detroit Lions. Vikings technically still in the hunt. Just end it all. I hope they lose. Hopefully improve their draft pick. And if you want to call me a fake fan for that, fine. Which I think is just a silly thing to argue about. Fan out however it is that you want to fan out. If you want to just go yay team no matter what, that's cool. That's totally your prerogative. But if you're just saying, hey, I want a better draft pick, I'm sick of being middle of the road, having to trade up, or if you stay at your pick, settle for a guy that you're not really all that great about, but this is where you are at pick 20, 22, for example, that's fine too. But this whole thing about you're not a real fan, you should win every game for honor and integrity and all the stuff that the Power Rangers fought for in the 90s, which I think is just downright silly. You can have that. That's fine. But at pick 12, there are 4 teams ahead of the Vikings who will definitely go quarterback in the draft. That's Washington, New England, Atlanta, and Vegas. Plus, 2 teams that might go quarterback, Chicago and the Giants. Now, I think I saw a report somewhere that Chicago, they're still on the fence about Justin Fields, which if that is the case, if they roll with him next year, they may trade down from the first overall pick, or they may stand pat and take Marvin Harrison Jr. And the Giants, I'm just banking, hoping, praying that they're dumb enough with Daniel Jones. They already gave him that dumbass contract with 2 years, $82 million guaranteed, with him being owed another $40 million next year. I'm hoping that they are going to say, you know what, we're going to give this man one more year. Let's build up the team around him to give him every opportunity to succeed. Is what I'm hoping for. We'll see. The Arizona Cardinals, the report is out there that they're already committed to Kyler Murray in 2024. So quarterback is out. And the Jets, they're committed to Aaron Rodgers. They need to beef up their offensive line. Maybe give him another weapon or two. He's going to come back in 2024. They're trying to go for a championship. So quarterback for them in the first round also doesn't make sense. And if the Vikings are going to trade up, it's going to be at pick 4. That's the sweet spot with Arizona. Chicago, they're not going to trade the first overall pick within the division. It's just not possible. So it's going to be with Arizona, which means that Caleb Williams, he's going to be gone. Drake May, he's going to be gone. It means that the best possible option at quarterback for the Vikings to land in this upcoming draft is going to be Jaden Daniels out of LSU. What is it going to take to get him? Well, it really depends on what happens in this week's game, week 18. So, for instance, there's a logjam from 9 to 12, 4 teams with 7-9 records ahead of the Vikings, who right now are at pick 12, are the Vegas Raiders, the Bears, and the Atlanta Falcons. So if you're the Vikings and you lose to the Lions on Sunday, and those other 3 teams win their games, then you jump up to pick 9. Fantastic. Trading up from 9 to 4 is a lot easier than 12 to 4. Obviously, if you end up with the 9th pick, it's going to be a pick swap in 2024, but also your first round pick in 25, and say a 4th round pick. You do have 2 fourths in the 2024 draft. Maybe that gets it done. Now, if you stand pat and you're at pick 12, it's going to include everything I just mentioned, as well as, I would say, at least your 2nd round pick in 2024. But if you've identified Jaden Daniels as your guy, then go and get him by any means necessary. Say you get leapfrogged, however, to trade up to that fourth spot by Vegas or the Falcons, and you stay at pick 12, JJ McCarthy, Michael Penix Jr., I'm open to just about anybody. Although, I will say that JJ McCarthy and Penix, I've seen their draft stock all over the place. I've seen first round pick or second round pick. So if you can draft, say, defensive tackle in the first round and still get J.J. McCarthy or Penix Jr. in the second round, sweet. I'm open to just about anybody at quarterback except for Bo Nix. This man is a screen merchant. I think at best he should be a third round prospect. I don't believe in this guy at all. I think all the support he had at Oregon was the reason behind his success. But that's it. Anybody else, I'm absolutely open to. But the Vikings have #options when it comes to quarterback in 2024.